You had a couple people who are like, so anyway, I'm like, look closer, buddy.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So, I'm recording. Recording. Got Jay Navarro here from Suicide Machines, Hellmouth, Jay Navarro and the Traders. Anything else here in between I don't know about?
Oh God. Yeah, way too many bands. I don't know where to begin. Intravenous DeMilo, Positively Negative, SBLC, Cold as Life. I was in the Exceptions for a minute. Broken Smoke, Roosevelt's Inaugural Parade, Cleon's Down, Break Anchor.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Break Anchor.
Let's just
Yeah,
put it this way, a lot
of bands.
A lot, dude.
Um,
Oh, Tomorrow's Gone when I was in Las Vegas.
Yeah. Vinny Dufour was trying to give me a rundown of all your shit.
Dude, Strength the Reality with
Yeah,
Vinny Dufour.
Yeah. He's trying to tell me all that shit.
Man, I can't remember things, man. I love Vinny, man.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna tell you though. So I just want to put it this way: if you had to do a survey, how would you think people found out about the Suicide Machines? I say that's one of your most popular bands. Right?
It depends on the era. You know, I could easily say, you know, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. You know.
Yeah, that's what I was getting into. Yeah.
You know, before that, I would say just because you know we toured, you know, super DIY well before we were ever on a major label. You know, we played places like Gilman Street and stuff like that, and so there's another thing that kind of like put us on the map. There's a comp called the Misfits of Ska. Actually, you know, it's all the people like my band that like fucked ska up and made it fucked up. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That comp was really a big like thing, I guess, in that world or whatever. So before Tony Hawk, it was definitely that particular compilation. So came out on Dill Records or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, obviously, that's what I was hoping you were going to say, Tony Hawk, because that's, you know, I was like 13 when that shit was around. So, and I know they had like a soundtrack, you know, all the artists who were on there, but back then I didn't know, like, that you could just see who it was. But it's weird because a couple of days later, I was like, I fucking love that song, you know, you guys. Well, a couple of years later, I worked at this restaurant, and this dude used to work at the Magic Stick.
Yeah.
And what he would do is how I found out about your name, and it's like, oh shit, I put two and two together, was when all the bands were playing inside, he would, you know, maybe feel a couple door handles unlocked, and so he would he'd take like stacks of CDs, and he would sell them like to people who he worked with, like here's like 20 for like $10, whatever.
Yeah.
And I see the Suicide Machines, and I didn't know, I just thought it was a cool name. I was like, I fucking like that name, the Suicide Machines. And I went home and I put it in my CD player, and for a song New Girl, I almost shit my pants because I put two and two together with fucking Tony Hawk like 3 years later, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, okay, I understand where you're going with this.
Yeah, because I was just so young.
Yeah.
So like I knew Tony Hawk and all that shit, and then I put the CD in a couple years later, but I never put it together, like Suicide Machines, fucking New Girl. And I was like, fuck, man, the rest of these songs are so good, and it's just over from there, man.
Yeah, it was
one of my favorite bands still.
Thank you. It was weird, you know. We could definitely go out. Sorry, we could definitely before that had ever come out. You know, we could go play. You know, places, and there would be 400 or 500 kids see us.
Mm-hmm.
And then that game came out, and it was like, hey, we need to move you guys into a bigger venue. We're like, what? Like, yeah, we got to put you in 1,000+ venue because it's gonna sell out. And be like, nah. And they did, like, so, like, definitely that would be a reference point for maybe the people who found the band in its, I don't know, second era or wave, you know what I mean? It's definitely that game. I mean, we were on other games and stuff too, but like that thing, it's weird that a video game would like sell music. I guess they kind of pioneered that thought well before anyone else did.
Yeah,
you know
it was
what
fucking
I mean?
awesome, because that's how like a lot of people were like submerged in punk, ska, pop punk, that type of shit was because of Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
At least if you don't have like older brother or sister who was into that shit, it's kind of hard to find anyway.
It's true. It's true.
And so, how were you guys approached like for like Tony Hawk? Just
well, you know,
or was it through the record label or?
No, actually, so I had done Warped Tour and I met him. He's nice. He's a nice dude.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually skating on the West Coast, riding the ramp, and I kind of met him that way, just coming and passing. You know what I mean? And he kind of just knew who we were, I think, from that. And then, you know, it wasn't anything to do with the labels. Whoever is in his, you know, circle of people said, "Hey, Tony Hawk's trying to do this video game. You're not going to get paid, but do you want to be in it?" And me being a skater, I was like, "Yeah, man, of course. Like, I absolutely want to be in a video game." And we never cared about money back then. I was like, "Yeah, dude, whatever, cool. Like, yeah, take the song." And they took the song, and the rest is kind of history. I mean, there's other reference points where people got into our band, but that was a big one.
Yeah, that's what I like. That's a big fucking leap. A lot of people bought that game, and just the albums are.
And it was a good game. That's what I think.
So
that's
much fun.
I think that's the kind of what really put it over is the fact that like it's actually really a fun. I'm a skater. I hate video games. Like I don't like video games, man. That's just not my thing. I just never got into them. But I got the game and I was just like, okay, this is actually really fun. You know what I mean? I turned off the soundtrack like everyone else. I didn't want to hear the soundtrack, right? But like, the point was is it was a really fun game to play too. So I think that that really helped as well.
Yeah. Because remember I found out about you guys. Was on there the Vandals. There's a lot of bands. Yeah. Dead Kennedys, Police Truck. As I found out about them too, man.
Very underrated record that's tied into that a lot of people don't listen to is Suicidal Tendencies, the Freedom album, which is that track that they put on the Tony Hawk Skater. That is like one of Suicidal's best records, hands down. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand how people don't see that record and go, "Oh yes, this is like top 3 Suicidal albums."
And another notable thing that you hear Suicide Machines in, at least for me, my age, was that movie Brink. How did that one happen? Same way?
Don't remember.
Don't remember. It just happened, huh?
I get asked like that a lot because I'm not a rollerblader.
Right.
I don't know if that was. I think they asked us. I don't know. I know it was definitely a Hollywood Records thing because I think it was like a Disney movie or something.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lot of times that's what they would do with all the records they put out. They would take songs because they didn't necessarily have to pay the royalty because they own the label.
Yeah, it's all Disney.
Right. Mm-hmm. Maybe they asked us. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Oh, by the way, check this out.
yeah. I maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. I don't really remember, man. It's a good question. I don't. I was also doing a lot of drugs and drinking back then too. So to be honest with you, it's a little bit hard to recall everything. Would I have said yes to it because it's a rollerblade movie? I don't care. Yeah, I don't. I have nothing against rollerbladers, dude. I don't buy into any of that us against them thing.
Everyone's having fun, huh?
Yeah, dude. Most rollerbladers are really cool, man. So
yeah, chilling.
Yep.
So how'd you get into this type of music that you're in? Like whether it's ska or hardcore or punk, like who introduced you?
Probably around 6th grade. That would probably be. Let me see. So Tigers won in '84. That was 5th grade. 85, 86. I was kind of like dropping the Wham and the Michael Jackson. I didn't want to listen to anything my parents listened to. My parents were listening to good stuff. They listened to MC5, The Stooges.
Yeah.
Ted Nugent. And I was like, whatever, that's my parents' music, So I was listening to Wham, Michael Jackson. But then this kid in 5th grade, right before I moved to Livonia, he got me into like Iron Maiden and fucking, I don't know, Motley Crue and Celtic Frost, Metallica, kind of like Slayer. So 6th grade hits and I'm kind of starting to listen to that stuff, but I'm pushing around on a skateboard. And there's this one, so we had a bunch of older brothers, just total dirtball metalheads. They'd get us high. Yeah, let's get the little kids stoned, you know what I mean? Like, they'd get us all high and shit. And one of the guys one day rolled up on his BMX and he cut all his hair, man. Like, he had a mohawk. And we're just like, dude, you cut your hair, man. Like, he's like, I swear to God, it was like that movie Salt Lake City Punk that we actually did. It had a song on. And the whole reason that like we said yes to doing that movie is because almost the exact same thing happened to me. He goes, man. He's like, whatever, fuck Slayer, fuck Metallica. And we're just like, dude, what do you mean? Like, you can't. Like, and he handed us a dubbed cassette and it had the first Suicidal, Circle Jerks, Group Sex, and I think it may have been either Who's Got the 10.5 or no, it was Black Flag Slip It In. I think that's the name of that album. On one tape.
Oh shit.
And dude, that was it. Like, whoa, it's like all those stupid fucking movies, like that movie Salt Lake
Oh
City Punk.
yeah.
The dude let us see
Now
the
you
movie
find out.
before we agreed to put in the song, and I saw that and I was like, yep, we'll do the movie, because that's exactly what happened to me. Like, no different. Like, dude gave me and my friend Eddie this cassette, and we like worshipped that cassette for one whole summer, and we found Thrasher magazine, probably 86, 87, and that was it, dude. Like, my introduction to punk rock was, heavily through skateboarding. So
Yeah, which put in perspective. I was born in 1987, so you were already blown away by all this shit, and it'd be another, almost 15 years till I found the shit. And
well, right, but I also missed the boat kind of on the good stuff.
right,
You know what I mean? Like,
Black Flag was
84, it was over.
Yeah,
Negative Approach is over. It was done. So I kind of missed the boat on. I did see some good bands. Trust me, in the 80s, I saw Circle Jerks, DI, The Exploited, GBH. I saw Judge on their first tour. You know what I mean? So I saw a lot of crazy stuff, but I missed the boat of what I found first, basically. I never got to see a lot of the really good bands, like the Originators at the time.
Same with me. Same thing. It's like all the older shit was already here and gone. I'm like, I fucking missed out. But, in hindsight, it's not like you missed out, because there's so many other bands that have come to fruition.
Yes.
That you love. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. For sure. But it was just weird because it was kind of like, oh, they broke up too? Damn. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know. There was no internet back then, It was just kind of like, shit, man. Fucking Misfits aren't a band anymore? All right.
You go see Danzig.
Yeah, I saw Danzig on his first tour.
So, where were all the punk shows happening and shit? Like, in Detroit then, when you see, like, Judge or, whoever else came through?
Well, I kind of came in right when the Greystone was closing. I remember being too afraid to go to the show because I almost went with a bunch of my skater friends to go see Agnostic Front. So that would have been 87, 88, like something like that. And I was like, I don't think I can go. And I was like a little fucking nerdy kid, And I was skating with a bunch of older dudes. Like, yeah, you probably get beat up. Yeah, you should probably just stay home. I was like, all right. I didn't go. I was too afraid to go because it was really scary back then, right? So, but like stuff like the Judge tour, the Bringing It Down tour, I saw that at Blondie's on 7 Mile. I kind of grew up going to Blondie's on 7 Mile. I remember buying pitchers of beer at like 14 years old. It didn't matter.
For like $1.
Oh no, it was expensive. They were probably overcharging us because we were little kids,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So. Used to be able to buy like cigarettes back in like 2000. I was still too young. They'd be like $7. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, my sister pays $4.
Yes, yeah.
Like,
yeah. I remember the first time buying a pitcher of beer there. I think it was at I think it was almost even my very first show and saw Slaughterhouse, an old Detroit band, and I was with a couple of my friends who are older. They took us. Let's take the little kids to the punk show, and I was like, Anna, can you get me some beer? And she's like, just fucking go up to the bar and buy it. I was like, what? So me and my friend Mike like pooled some money together and like both walked up to the, it was a scary, intimidating bar too, and like walked up and I was like, can I have a pitcher of beer? And I'm like, and they grabbed the pitcher of beer and they brought it over. I was like, holy shit! They handed them the money, and the rest is history.
Yeah,
a drunken one.
Fuck, man. Yeah, I remember like going into Harpo's, like my experience there. Harpo's being like 15, 16, like someone can give me a beer. They're like, go get it yourself, kid. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And you walk up there, they're like, yeah, next. I'm like, all right, a pitcher of beer, 15, man.
Yeah, man.
Best, some best experiences.
Yeah, I think places like Detroit were still pretty Wild West even into the 90s, and a lot of people don't really have that in their cities. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, with the whole CTYC and all that, them guys really put it for Detroit on the map. I think Cold as Life and shit, with like really representing the truth and reality of how it was in Detroit.
Yeah.
And even Negative Approach and shit.
I would agree.
Yeah, all before my time, but
yeah,
still like it.
I would agree. There was other bands too. I wouldn't say, I don't know how they represented, but I mean, there's like bands like Pitbull that actually made it to like Europe and stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it was pretty
Pitbull,
amazing.
Man.
Yeah, it was amazing to see like your peers or people who you were friends with, or like they're going to Europe. Like what? Like
just
crazy.
Friends.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It was crazy. Like Very cool.
That is exciting.
I remember just being excited that I mean, if you brought up Cold as Life, I remember just being excited like after they kicked me out of the band. Uh, Madball brought them to CB's, and I went and hung out with everyone. I went there with like Donnie and Dougie and
Oh yeah,
Michelle Durda. We had a drove because we are just like, dude, like
at CB's.
Cold as Life's getting to play CB's. Let's go. Like we would, we went like that. It was cool.
Yeah, I never
stuff like that was mind blowing back then.
Yeah, because I never got a chance to go to CB's. I would have if it was still around today. Did you guys ever play there? Suicide Machines? Or any
only been there a bunch.
Okay.
Never played there. Played every dump in New York City and outside of the city. Only been to shows there. Saw Gangrene there.
Like, oh man.
So I've gone for sure.
Fuck. Yeah, that looks like a fucking rad place.
Bro, the Cold as Life show was wild. It was I probably have this wrong. It was Bulldoze, 25 to Life, Downset, Cold as Life, Madball, and then all of a sudden, Agnostic Front dropped their banner. I think they had been broken up for a while. Mm-hmm. Like Agnostic Front dropped their banner. Agnostic Front played like 10 songs. Dude, it was like next level. Like,
what a surprise,
dude! It was next. Well, no, I remember being there, and everyone's like, "Yo, Agnostic Front's gonna play." I was just like, "What? No, they're not, dude." Like, they did.
Did you ever get to see them before that, or were they already?
Yeah. Okay. Oh no, I'd seen them play. Yeah. When I was in Cold as Life, we opened for Agnostic Front.
Yeah.
Right after Roger had gotten out of prison. I think it was the One Voice tour.
Yeah. See, because I don't know like how you grew up and like the shows, who was your friends back then, but I separate the Suicide Machines from like the Cold as Life scene.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's interesting how you were in Cold as Life, and it's like
no, because I would say you weren't around there to see what it was like back then. The beginning of the scene was everybody. Like, you couldn't pick and choose who you wanted to play with or who you're going to hang out with. Like, the punk scene was the ska scene, was the hardcore scene, was the metal scene. It was all one thing. Like,
it's so tight anyway. Then
that was it. Like, there weren't many people. You all knew each other. So it wasn't strange for like. I mean, it didn't like surprise me. They asked me to play bass for them because I think at that point I had already played for SBLC. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
they're tight.
Right. Like, and so like that was the thing. Like, it just like that community. There wasn't. The bands all played with each other. It didn't matter what you. From. Yeah, it didn't matter what your style of music was. Mm-hmm. Like that was the beginning of that, or like I would say like up until like maybe 93, 94, like things kind of started changing, and it became let's go to the punk show, or let's go to the hip hop show, or let's go to the hardcore show. Like it was kind of done. It's kind of sad to see because I like the diversity.
Yeah, for sure, and there's certain shows that you can go to, like it used to be, not now anyway, where there's like a punk band like opening for a hardcore band. It was like as a diverse crowd, but from my experience, it always seemed like some shit was gonna happen because there's fucking punk dudes, with like hardcore dudes. It's like that's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame, and that's one of the things that we tried doing with Hellmouth, and I think a lot of the people in the hardcore scene didn't like us because of that. They were just like, "You're not supporting hardcore." We're like, "No, we're supporting everybody. We're trying to book shows with everybody."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people like were bent that we were playing outside of the hardcore genre. They didn't like that even. It was just like, dude, like we're trying to do how it felt when I was a kid. We're gonna play with whoever. Like if it's hip hop, whatever. If it's crust punk, whatever. Emo, I don't care. Like ska band, don't care. Like Hellmouth is gonna play. And a lot of times when we book our shows with Hellmouth, you can go back and look at a lot of our bills, and a lot of them are 4 different bands. You know what I mean? A lot of it is.
Yeah.
And we caught a lot of shit for that. Like people were just like, you're not supporting hardcore, and I'm like, no, we're doing everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we want it to be all inclusive. Like that's what it was. And I know times change, but like maybe they don't change for the best sometimes.
Yeah, it just it goes through cycles, and I've seen bands come and go, and I've been to punk shows. Like thought was really weird is I know you've done a lot of shows at the Trumbullplex,
Mm-hmm.
and it's only like it seems like punk bands who play there most of the time. But I've seen a couple hardcore bands. I was like, is this the right environment for a hardcore band? But surprisingly enough,
It was fun, wasn't it?
it was a pretty good time, and they're pretty laid back. Like I was like, this is might not go well,
Yeah.
you know.
Trumbull gets a very bad rap. I was booking there for a long time. Me and Tom Major were booking the Trumbullplex even before like Weisterman and stuff. And that was the same thing. We'd do all kinds of shows. It didn't matter. And absolutely. I think it gets a bad rap. Like, I think it had this weird stigma when I was young, and that stigma died and ended because it was like that. It was very elitist and very, if you're not up to this par in thinking, then you don't belong here. And then that stopped probably about 92. And then it became normal. Like,
for anybody?
Yeah, anybody. Tons of hardcore. It didn't matter what was there because I think new waves of people moved in, and with those new people, the ideas changed on what that space could be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think I fully know what that fucking place is. It's some sort of collective where bands play. I don't know if people live there or just some. Was it like a squat or no? Do I have that wrong?
You have it wrong.
Okay. Well, you hear things. I just been to shows there. It's like, what the fuck is this place?
Nah, man, this old hippie.
A little history, maybe.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this old hippie bought that place probably end of the 70s and through the 80s, and then he was just kind of like a neighborhood activist, a hippie. He wasn't a punk. He was a hippie dude, and then slowly, the activism, definitely became more aligned with, diversity. So then, punk rock kind of crept in. I remember going there before it was even called the Trumbullplex. Like this girl Liz, she used to work with me. She lived there, and I remember taking her home. Me and my friend Anna driving her home from work, and this had to have been 89, 90. And I was just like, "Whoa, what is that?" And like, "Oh, we have a theater in the back." Like, what? Like, "Oh yeah, we do stuff with the neighborhood kids and stuff like that." And she was a punk, yeah. And it was a lot of like it wasn't the Trumbullplex at then. It was just the Trumbull House,
yeah.
But it was like, so a lot of students would live there, and then punks moved in, and it was no longer students.
For sure.
Right? And then, well, up until now, punks live there in the Pirate House too. A lot of people could probably consider the Pirate House a squat, but it's not. It's a little bit dilapidated, but the other house is really nice actually. But they're really interesting. It's been a pretty interesting ride for that space, man. Like very community based. Like a lot of stuff goes on there that a lot of people don't know about. You know what I mean? Like a lot of stuff in the community for the kids.
Oh yeah.
It's wild, man.
Well, it's a good thing that anybody is pretty much welcome there. On any night, as long as there's like an event or something. And it's been nothing but fucking love. Like, you want something to eat? Something like I'm here for a show, but they're just so humble. Like, put your beer in the fridge, and make it drink. Somebody may take it, but there's a refrigerator.
Everyone's way cooler there. Yeah. They get a bad rap.
And because you can bring your own beer, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah, you can smoke weed.
It's so cool, man.
That's the freedom of being a lot of those people will be like, oh, they're a bunch of communists. Nah, dude, they just lean so far left, they don't give a fuck about the rules, man. Like,
for real.
That's what it is.
That's
like,
it. They're just
you be you.
Mind your business. I mind mine. Yeah.
Exactly, man. You be a good person. I'm not gonna say shit to you. That's it. That's kind of like how that world sits these days.
Yeah, more than communists. That's just a community.
Yeah, it's different than people think.
Man. No, it's a good times. I like it there. Shout out to the Trumbullplex. You guys did a benefit there. What? Just before this whole shit happened, you guys were there.
Only show we got in.
A free show? Was it free or what?
All the money went to Food Not Class.
Yeah,
it's a collective. I'm involved with a bunch of activists and stuff. So
that's great, man. If you guys let's still do shit like that.
Yeah. Well,
keep it real too. Home punk,
Well, here's the thing, man. Like my theory on any of that is if you want to end things like, it's so weird. Like you live next to your neighbor, you don't even talk to him, right? Well, if you want to change this world, you want to change where you live, like you have to go into the community and be a part of it and have like dialogue with people and meet people. You know what I mean? So I would go to a food nut class downtown, and you get to know a lot of people. You know what I mean? And I feel like when you're, you could throw it back to like the whole, Hare Krishna thing, like to serve people. Like
hell yeah.
If you put that energy out there, it does change things. It changes you, but it also, maybe changes another person's perspective you're going to meet on the street that you wouldn't normally. You have to go out in the community to meet people, man. Like get to know your neighborhood, and the same thing applies within your actual neighborhood.
Yeah, for sure. I love my little cul-de-sac. I call it my cultural cul-de-sac
Yeah.
because I got Mexicans next door. I love them to death. They're fucking nicest people ever. And excuse me, African American next door on the other side of me, great people. Filipinos on the other side, and I got Mexican behind me. And it's like a great little community. I love them all. You got to talk to your neighbors, which I do. I see them. We wave, hello. It's not just like,
yeah.
Normally I mind my business too, but it's like I'm in this little area, so are they. Let's make the best of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Shovel their snow, whatever.
Exactly, man. Get to know your neighbors, man. That's a big part of like making the world a better place, man. It's really that easy. There's not much more to it, man. I don't have everything figured out, but you know what I mean? Like there are some things.
Yeah, it's gotta be nice.
Yeah, I'll even extend an olive branch to the the new Trump neighbor that moved in as soon as summer hits. I will. I don't care. I will. Like that's, you need to talk to people, man.
Well, that's what it is, because nobody is really talking, and they're fucking being told what to think too, rather than how's your personality rather than your politics.
Yeah, and or they're sitting at home now and they're like, sitting in front of a computer or a TV all day now at this point. And like you said, they're being fed who knows what, because almost every media outlet is bullshit.
But like,
so gross. But on top of it, like, you have now isolated yourself from going outside of your home to meet human beings. We're human beings are we have a need to communicate with each other.
Have to.
You know what I'm saying? And it's 2021 and it's becoming isolating, man, and it's a really big problem.
Kind of scary.
Yeah, it's a very big problem.
Like, just see how like people are being steered in certain directions, and they fucking draw the lines. Like, don't draw the line, because we notice. I don't know anything about the whole thing with the stock market and shit, what just happened, but it seems a lot of people are coming together. Like AOC and Ted Cruz are friends. Like, who would have thought?
Good Lord.
Yeah, no, it's chaos. Move on from there.
Yeah.
no, I just.
Oh man!
A lot of people came together for this whole thing. I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Don't look at me. I don't know anything about the stock market besides I just thought it was a bunch of bullshit. So maybe this just proved it, but I don't know a thing about stocks.
I'm not even going to try, because I don't either. Let's get back to suicide machines. We do a little digging. A lot of people know, especially from Detroit, that it used to be Jack Kevorkian and the Suicide Machines.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Just a long name, or?
Well, the original problems were that it was a long name, or it got spelled wrong. No one would, spell Kevorkian, or no one wanted to put the full name because it's a long ass fucking name.
It's a cool fucking name, though.
Yeah, and like funny stuff would happen. I'm sure you've heard the stories where we played on Ipsy's campus one time, and people came to see him speak, but it was us
and the Suicide
Machines. Yeah. So like that sort of thing was always happening, man, and it was just getting like stupid. And then we were about to put out a split record with this band from East Bay called the Rudiments, and we already put out albums as Jack Kevorkian and the Suicide Machines. And I called, I found Jack's lawyer's number, Jeff Feiger, which funny, he actually represented me years later in a case. But
wow,
I called him. He remembers it too, and I was like, hey, my name's Jay, and I don't know how to go about this, but I'm in this band called, Jack Kevorkian and the Suicide Machines. He's like, oh yeah, I heard about you guys. I was like, oh God. I'm like, yeah, well, we're about to put out a record. We just want to make sure there's no legal, because this is, and he's like, I suggest you change the name.
Copy that.
And well, no, I was a little asshole, and I was like, I didn't really know what to say for a minute, and I was very bad at like situations like that. I was like, okay, well, fuck off then, and I hung up the phone, and we put out that album anyways under Jack Kevorkian, and nothing happened. But it was getting to the point where we were starting to get out a lot more and tour a lot more, and it was kind of like, Suicide Machines just sounds cooler. we won't have any legal repercussions down the road.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people don't know that like that song Bruce Springsteen sings, the Suicide Machines in Born to Run. He's talking about cars being made in Detroit too. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot more tied to it than most people think. But that said, it just sounded cooler, so we dropped the name, man, and that was that. I remember when we were like just about to sign with Hollywood, they're like, "Oh, what are you gonna do about the name?" I'm like, we're changing it, and they're just like, "Okay, good." You know what I mean? Because I don't know how that's gonna go.
Yeah. Well, just to take it back to how I found out about you guys, like I said, I never put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Suicide Machines and with the Tony Hawk shit, but like, I just seen the name, the Suicide Machines, really catchy. Just it was on the album, the Suicide Machines. Obviously, I was like, I fucking love that name. So I just put it in my record or a CD player. Like,
yeah,
girl.
By default, we got lucky, and it sounds cool. You know what I mean? Names is the hardest part of a band, I swear.
Yeah, you gotta be catchy and whatever.
Yeah.
Hopefully, or just not give a fuck. It's what it is.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
So, the first album. What was your first album?
Oh, the first album?
Well, full length. Then rather than like
Green World.
Yeah, Green World. That's what I thought. What year did that come out? 93. 6 years old. So I'm just guessing here.
Yeah, 93, I believe.
Yeah.
So
did it really take off with Destruction by Definition, or was it already? Were you guys already pretty?
We were in full swing before Destruction, man.
Yeah.
We were like touring and stuff, and
that's awesome.
Playing squats and in houses and in bars too. But like, we were already out there doing it. We all just decided like, screw it. I mean, all you have in this life is time. You know what I mean? We all have the same amount of time, right? Like, how are we going to use it? We all just said, you know what? We're going to work. What are we working for? Forget it. Like, we all just quit. Like, we'll just live in a van. Like, that's that. We'll come home and get crap jobs when we're not touring and live in a van. And so we kind of already had thrown our lives away to do it. I wouldn't say thrown our lives away. If anything, it took our time that we had and
made a decision.
Yeah, I made a decision and went out and did it. I saw so many people here just spin their wheels in Detroit doing nothing because they didn't have the drive to go do it. So we just went and did it.
That's so fucking awesome. Lots of lineups over time. So you have to.
Oh yeah.
Fuck. I mean, because at one time were you playing bass and singing?
Yep. And it was so hard to play those bass runs and sing.
That's what I'm like. How the fuck is it? In the legendary bass lines, so it's like, how the fuck how are you keeping on track?
Yeah.
Singing and like, oh fuck that.
Nah, Dan couldn't sing very well, so I was like, you know what, man? Like, I'm gonna have my friend Jay Brake sit in and play bass. I'm just gonna sing. Screw it. You know what I mean?
It's a lot of finger movements. So I was like, how the fuck can you sing and play at the same time,
dude? Yeah.
Well, anybody in general, whether it's bass or guitar, it seems really hard.
Yeah, I can write a song, but I am not talented. You know what I mean? So
I like it. So from what I've seen on the internet, because you have a bunch of records and 7 full lengths, and then you guys broke up, and then you put out the one just last year.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, 15 years in between?
Yeah, some shit, man. It was a long time.
And you couldn't even tour it though. I mean, I know it was on Fat Records, but you put it out, and then like it's like, oh, you can't go anywhere with it because the pandemic.
So weird.
Fucking sucked.
So weird.
It's what everybody says. Like everybody put out a bunch of records end of 2019, early 2020. Then
I think the good thing about that is I think maybe we handle that a little bit better because the band isn't our job. You know what I mean? So to us, like we don't have to be capitalists about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very like. It's our art. It's not. I hate to call punk rock art, but you know what I mean. Like, we don't count.
Self-explanatory.
We don't count on this thing to pay our rent. You know what I'm saying? Like, so everyone else is like, "Oh my god, what do I do?" I'm like, "You go get a job, dude." Like,
figure it out, buddy.
Yeah, I've been working for like 14 years now. Like, where you been? Like, and I feel bad, and that sounds like I'm knocking everyone, and I'm not, dude. I mean, I get it. It's a hard thing to go from like this was my life to I got to get a job, this kind of life now, but. It's not as hard as you think, dude. Go out and find a job and,
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people who are out of work at the time, but there's still, things.
I lost my job because of the pandemic.
Oh, shit.
I had to go get another one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I was a truck driver. Well, still am, but I was doing auto parts, like picking up in Ohio and bringing them to an engine plant in Romulus. And they were shut down for like 2.5 months. And I was one of the lucky ones that were able to get on the unemployment. You know, a lot of people weren't even that fortunate enough to get, just because fucking system overload. You know, it's like, holy shit. A lot of people, like family members, like I don't know what I'm gonna do. So everybody lives paycheck to paycheck for the most part. It was just fucking chaos. For a few months. Shit, it's still going on. But
I was working for Gordon's Food Service, man. So like all of our business, we went from we were doing anywhere between 76 to 82,000 cases of food each shift. Like shift.
Wow.
First shift would do it, second shift would do it, and our third shift, which is what I was on, and we went down to 14% caseload.
Yeah, because a lot of restaurants and shit.
Schools,
closed down.
Restaurants, everything, and it was like, I was like, this is not good. And I'd been there 14 years. I was actually seniored in and had a really good job, and they were like, all right, well, who wants to take the first furlough cut? And I was like, see you later. Fuck this place. Been here 14 years. I'm done. Everyone's like, you're not leaving. I'm like, I'm leaving because this isn't going to be good. And they're like, whatever, it'll be fine in a couple months. I was like, I don't think so, dude. Next thing you know, dude, man, they did another furlough cut here, bro. A whole bunch more people are gone. And then all these other people had to take other lesser, worse jobs. And the senior guys got the better jobs. And I was like, yeah, I'm not coming back.
It's fucking craziness.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have all the big companies, somehow they figured out and kept their money while everybody else went fucking broke. But
yeah,
man, what are you gonna do?
I've been poor my whole life. I don't care. I mean, it doesn't matter to me.
We're paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
Everybody else. So
yeah,
the new album, a lot of good songs on there.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about what's going on in the world today, which is someone's got to talk about it.
Sure.
The police state, shit like that. And
well, I wrote that's talking about Bully and Blue. I mean, yes. I wrote that well before shit hit the fan this year.
Yeah,
or last year. I mean,
what's always been,
we've all known about it.
Yeah, it's no surprise.
So many people have sung about it for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays it's just way easier to catch people.
Thank you. It is, man, because you're a fucking camera from 5 different angles at almost all times.
Right. And parts of that I hate. I don't like Project Greenlight in Detroit, like facial recognition and stuff like that.
Oh, no.
But at the same time, if we don't have cameras and do these things like tape people with their phones, the police still get away with it most of the time, regardless of how blatant it's put out there.
It's that friend who they're answering to.
Right. But in general, man, like, it's 2021. You're not gonna get away with things like you used to be able to, and be it good or be it bad, it is what it is. And for situations like that, I mean, maybe it is for the better that people are getting filmed doing these sort of things. Yeah. I'm not talking about Greenland. I'm talking about like people doing bad shit and then other people catching it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Some sort of accountability.
Yeah, I didn't care. Cop or not, like you're getting caught doing some bad shit.
Yeah, ousted by society for the most part.
Right.
Fuckers.
It's a weird world that everything is fucking under surveillance, but it is now, and that's it, man.
Yeah, there ain't no going back on that for sure.
No.
Good or bad, with catching a bad guy or just you can't mind your own fucking business.
Yeah, so I think a lot of that album is not to be like self-centered. A lot of that album is actually just about me. A lot of like the things that I've been through, and especially over the course of the past like 15 years. Yeah. And some of the things that my friends have gone through and things like that. So that's what a lot of that record is about. It just so happens that it's relevant to what has happened in 2020.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, even before that with the Flint hostage crisis.
Yeah. Yep.
Nobody's talking about that. That's somehow still just fucking flies under the radar after all these years.
Yeah, man. That was wild because one of my best friends he's still one of my best friends, worked for Flint Water. And he was told to lie to people. And I'll tell you some crazy stuff about that. Like him and I did water drives a lot, like for Flint.
Yeah.
But he would actually get shot at because so many people were so angry at Flint Water, even though
I'm doing the right thing here.
Right. It wasn't right. Like they would get their truck shot up and stuff. Like it was pretty real, man. Like, it's sad that, some rich, powerful man or person, like Snyder can do something like that to profit and he's still free. I know maybe not now. Things are looking like he's finally going to get the book thrown at him, but like, you know, a lot of people are like, let me tell you where I sit with all this, and this maybe people can understand this. Everyone's like, and this goes out to anyone who's a Republican, okay? Because I think you guys get the wrong idea about me. Like, yeah, I'll talk some shit about Trump. He's a fucking moron, and the Republican Party, right? But I don't like the Democratic Party either. Like, I don't think you understand. I don't like.
I knew that about you.
I don't like. No. I do not like Biden. I do not like our government. Like, that's where I sit. You know, that's why I have gone to the whole idea of making things around me better by communicating with my community, my surroundings.
About what you can do.
Yeah, about what I can do. Mm-hmm. That's it, man. Like, so there's a weird stigma out there that I have gotten for some reason that I like am a Democrat or something, like, which is absolutely ludicrous, man.
It is. That's like, it's almost obvious. I don't know how people get that idea.
And I'm not a communist, right? Like, it's wild. Like, I don't know, man. People, like, you know, just, I think they make things up.
Yeah. What's easy, and they put a label on something, and the way you know, something that you mentioned is who you are.
Yeah,
It's like, well, this is a part of my idea, but I don't identify with it. Identity thing. It's get it out of here.
Yeah.
It's too much shit.
Pretty wild, man. So like, that album is really just more of a personal thing. The new record, man. Like, calling it Revolution Spring was more about just change within myself, not like the world. It's funny that it just happened to be like coincidence, maybe.
Yeah, that it all just fucking lined up with the chaos of the world. And it's putting out the album, which
it's so easy.
Time.
Yeah, to change the world, just be a better person, man. That's it. Don't worry about what someone else is doing. Like, if that person is a Democrat and they're not hurting anyone and doing anything crazy to like oppress anyone, well then so be it. Same with like some Republican. Like, some Republican isn't like some oppressive asshole, and he's just trying to make the world a better place, which is rare between either of those people.
Yeah, they're just trying to take.
But some are more. They can't. Not everyone can possibly be evil. You know what I mean? So just try to be a good person, man. It's so easy to do. It's not that hard, man. You know?
Yeah, I feel the same way.
That's my politics. Yeah. Be fucking cool. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Mind your fucking business too.
Be cool.
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting, like, during the whole fucking pandemic thing, is no shows, nothing going on, but like artists and bands have found a way to still, do what they like in front of a crowd or not. But then you guys did the Devil's Night, live stream thing, which could have been pre-recorded, but I thought that was awesome. Just an hour of fucking Suicide Machines and Halloween costumes at Smalls, man. That was...
Yeah, I love Smalls. It's one of my bars, man.
Yeah. Was that just your first idea? Let's fucking do this shit at Smalls? Or?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a perfect place, with a crowd or not.
Yeah. I love all the people who run Smalls and own it and stuff. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. Like, we hadn't done a Halloween show in years. Like, years and years and years. We did St. Andrews Hall. We used to do Halloween shows once in a while there. We only ever really dressed up and made it crazy once, I can't remember who played that one. Anyways, we just decided, hey, no, not gonna be Black Christmas this year. Let's do a Halloween thing. Like, so we practiced a couple times, and dude, all that, like, we lost money because we bought all that stuff.
Yeah, that's a big production.
Dude, we paid for cameramen. We paid our sound engineer because we had my friend Mark come down and do the sound and record it, and then we bought all the props for the most part. Carved all of, like, just
a lot of pumpkins too. I was who the fuck did that, man?
We had a pumpkin farm donate those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they usually have a huge bash at this pumpkin farm, and so they have 1 million jack-o'-lanterns. Like, we can't do it this year, so you guys want all these pumpkins? So yeah, they gave us all the pumpkins. So that we actually didn't pay for, but we had to carve them. But
yeah,
long story short, man, like, we did it because we wanted to do. Like, we could sell shirts maybe from it or whatever, but it was more like, dude, we wanted to play so bad. It was so exciting to play in front of like 8 or 9 or 10 of our friends. It didn't even matter. It was so fun, dude.
It's a fun idea, which everybody was like, oh, fucking, like, I know a few.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a lot of the smaller, like, punk bands, it wasn't really any, like, big mainstream artists weren't doing much besides fucking watching, like, they were like watching TV and recording themselves, like on like Channel 4. It's like the artists or whoever the actors and actresses of Hollywood. It it was them like talking about like TV shows that were on TV. I'm like, this sucks. But then, the bands fucking did it right and did some sort of live stream or a couple songs, a couple new songs, or even new albums. I think you got to keep everybody going somehow.
Yeah, I got some crazy stuff where it would be like, one person playing freestyle guitar and another person be painting at the same time. Like I saw some pretty crazy stuff. Like, people had to rethink things, and it was pretty cool, man.
It's weird how everybody adapted. That's for sure, which is a good thing. Some people went fucking crazy, and others like, oh, this is just what we're doing now.
One of my favorite things that came out of the pandemic, and I'm sure you're a fan of it because you're podcasting. I thought the New York Hardcore Chronicles was fantastic.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome, man. Yeah, they talked to a lot of cool people, and it's a lot of history in New York too. You can learn a lot if you care, which I do. Hardcore, punk,
for sure, man, for sure.
It's all one together.
So people like him, like Drew Stone, people had to adapt doing stuff like that, and I thought it was cool. There's a lot of cool stuff that came out of it. So it's not all negative stuff. There's a lot of good stuff. So
yeah, well, it is what it is. Hopefully, for the next fucking year, maybe. I have no idea. Any predictions on when this shit's gonna?
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah, have to.
You know what, man? I didn't even miss it up until about I think it was like the end of September. There was one day I was just sitting in my house. I was like, fuck, I just want to see a fucking band. Like, my wife was like, what? And I'm like, I've had it. Like, oh, so you want to play a show? I was like, no, I didn't want to play a show. I want to like feel some live music. Like, I want to go to the bar, get a beer or drink, and feel some live music. Maybe shake my ass. Like,
yeah.
And that was it. Like, it finally hit me. Like, but I'm back to being mellow again.
Right. It's we got to deal with it for now.
We got asked to play in June out in Atlantic City as a rescheduled show, and we said yes to it. Do I think it's going to happen? Doubt it.
It's still too soon. Maybe. I mean,
yeah,
I'm all for whatever. Whether it's got to make it safe.
Yeah.
For people, and it's whatever. That's another thing. Like, say there's a punk show fucking next week. Are people gonna be allowed to mosh?
Yeah. Well, it's weird. I went to there's a show at right at Sculpture Skate Park in Hamtramck, the end of summer, beginning of fall, and I actually went. Like, a bunch of bands played in the bowl area, and there's a lot of people started showing up, and I was like, fuck, I gotta get out of here. Yeah. It's too many people.
Yeah, it gets a little crazy, and like a lot of people are like itching for Thanksgiving, Christmas. It's like,
yeah. After having a friend die a couple weeks ago, it kind of
Yeah, you mentioned that to me.
Yeah, it kind of put that back into my head that it's definitely not gone yet. Like, unfortunately,
this is what it is.
I was starting to get comfortable with it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then my friend Mark passed away, and I was like,
it is scary because I had a couple family members, back in the summertime who had, they're elderly, overweight people. Just, fuck, I don't know. One of them had like a doctor come by like every other day. And that's how she got it, supposedly, that the doctor or nurse, is just an aide, was coming over. And then my aunt would also go visit my other aunt, and they were in contact, and both of them got it. And one, she had to go to the hospital because they said it was mainly a pneumonia, but she also did test positive. But she was all fucked up. Like, when she left the hospital, whatever medication they had her on, she was like hallucinating and like crying and shit. Like,
yeah, my friend is on.
Scary.
My friend just got his first round of steroids because his lungs are so destroyed. From actually, he books the Trumbull. Brian Weisserman.
If you want to move this closer, you can.
No, I'm good, man. I'm good. Don't worry about it. He has actually just got his first round of steroids because his lungs are so messed up from getting it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Lots of after effects.
Yeah, man.
Wouldn't necessarily don't go away so soon.
Right. Well, everyone stay safe out there.
Everybody stay safe.
Yeah. Be safe.
That's what it is. Onward did the Halloween shit, and a couple weeks ago, maybe somebody posted, Hellmouth was hanging out. Is anything going on with that?
Yeah, man. We wrote.
Because I fucking love Hellmouth. If it wasn't for Suicide Machines, but Hellmouth, they're like neck and neck, like,
Thank you. Yeah, man, we're just writing some. We're homies. We had a falling out. You know what I mean? Like, I left because I was butting heads pretty hard.
Yeah.
With some of the people in the band, and it sucks because if there isn't a band in the equation, we get along really well. And so we kind of all had to put that back into. I had to put that back into perspective because it definitely was me being like, I'm out. It definitely had to be me kind of putting back perspective that I really like the people in Hellmouth. You know, we definitely we butt heads. You know, but like they're some of the best humans ever in that band. But yeah, you know, we were like, yeah, let's get together and like, dude, just clean slate. Let's just write some music.
Yeah.
Not even jam any old stuff. Like, let's just. And we went in and dude, we knocked out like 4 songs in only a couple hours. We are just like, all right,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So,
anything gonna go forward with that, or just hanging out right now?
You know,
fucking that band's really good.
Thank you. You know, we're not. A lot of those guys, man, like we don't put pressure on ourselves. Kind of the same with the Machines. Like it's just kind of like, hey, dude, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no real like regimented anything.
That's good though.
Yeah,
you know, that's probably the best way rather than looking at it like a job. Like you said, we got to get this out. We talked. We got this shit together. Let's bang out an album. Let's see how it goes for now.
Yeah, Hellmouth is in no rush by any means. Same with the Machines, no rush, man. Just like let the chips fall where they may, kind of, you know.
Yeah. How'd you go about like from? I know you're into hardcore and shit, but like going from the Suicide Machines to Hellmouth, was that like your idea, or you just all collectively?
Oh yeah, I wrote like the first 4 or 5 songs on my own.
Okay.
It was originally supposed to be like a crust punk band with Danny from Against All Authority. He lived in Florida, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna throw a hardcore band together up here and get these guys together and see if they're into it. Mm-hmm. And all those dudes were like kind of transitioning from like, you know, Alex was transitioning from like playing for Coalition and like straight edge hardcore like posse stuff into like listening to like Dysphere and Neurosis and stuff like that. And he was kind of like, yes, dude, I'm feeling this. Like, so it was just kind of a matter of like everyone was kind of transitioning from what they were doing into like wanting to play gnarlier stuff, like all 4 of us.
That shit's fucking heavy. It's dark, and the lyrics are crazy.
Yeah, man, I hated myself for quite a while. You know what I mean? I definitely was enjoying taking pills and drinking myself into oblivion, and you know, I definitely wanted to die. Fuck. And that was that era for that record. You know, and those first 2 records, like, I'm pretty amazed I made it to 2021. It's just a weird time for me. So those 2 records is definitely pretty fucked in the head at the time.
Well, I mean, you have to listen to it. You're like, wow, it's a different place at this.
Yeah, I started to get out of it. Like if you listen to the Oblivion record, the last one, it's kind of there's some positive kind of spins on what I was doing in that band. I didn't know how people would take that. It was very like, fuck this, I'm not gonna let myself beat myself. That's what the Oblivion record kind of was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was kind of coming out of that shitty time.
Well, that's a good thing. You were evolving and then also putting it to paper and ears.
Yeah, I didn't know how people would like that record because it was almost in a weird way positive. You know what I mean? People are like, I don't know. I think they wanted me to fucking kill myself. People who like those fucking records. So.
Well, you know what I thought was fucking hilarious? I didn't know until I was just watching some YouTube videos. I knew the song "Amen Assholes." I didn't know there was a little bit of history behind. You guys pressed a limited album where it said you burnt a 100-year-old Bible.
Yeah.
Melted it into the physical record.
Yeah, but I don't think people get it. Like, oh, you just burned the Bible. It's so lame. The whole point was that record was. I hated the fact that people were paying so much money for records on eBay and stuff, and just all these crazy sites. Mm-hmm. It made me fucking laugh that you'd pay that much money for a record. So I talked to the guy who pressed it, and I'm like, we want to put Bible ashes into the vinyl, and he's like, you can't play it. I'm like, I know. He's like, okay. And I'm like, he's like, but you understand, like you won't be able to play it. And I'm like, that's the whole point. And he's like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah. So we documented burning that Bible. It was a fucking beautiful lithography, like gorgeous German fucking. It was like 110 years old or something. Beautiful fucking Bible. beautiful, man.
I
So
think
many,
it's awesome. I don't
just
give a fuck.
pure art. Like, yeah, we burned it, sent all the ashes to the plant. So when you'd pull out the record, the ash would be hanging out of the record, out of the vinyl, out of the plastic. You couldn't play it. So all these fucking assholes were like, "Oh my God, there's Bible ash. I'm paying $100 for it. It's the crazy and it's limited." And people are like, "Dude, I can't play this record." We're like, "Fucking joke's on you."
Yeah, you're just wasting your money. Can you listen to it?
Yeah, that's the
It's
whole
a cool collector's piece. If you
it's art.
Appreciate it,
it's 100%
exactly.
a piece of art. That's exactly what it is.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I just want to hear the backstory behind this. Like, what? Why? You just,
because I wanted to press my ashes into a greatest hits of like every song that I wrote that I loved. I made an agreement with that record label to put my ashes into a record.
That's awesome.
So the Bible Ash record came out. So the guy I have the agreement with is like, if you die before me, cool, send it. So yeah, it's Vinny from Less Than Jake. So
okay. Yeah, good friend.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So anything new with the Traders, or is that just
almost getting pretty close to being done with a full-length record. Hopefully it'll be out in the fall.
Good.
So yeah, it's very very two-tone English style, ska and reggae, a little bit of punk, but
I enjoy it.
Thank you.
I enjoy it.
Thank
Something
you
can. It's way more chill than like the Suicide
You
Machines.
can smoke weed to it.
Yeah. Well, but once you listen to it, though, like there's really a message behind a lot of the songs. It's not just
I'm not gonna write some dumb shit.
no,
man.
right? But smoke some weed to it and fucking chill. It's this is fucking good music. Well, you just all the shit you do. You're so diverse, and I'm sure anybody can appreciate that, especially the local Detroit people. Some people may not even know you're the singer of Hellmouth. They hear it like, that's fucking Suicide Machine singer and Hellmouth. Like, yeah, man, he's fucking hardcore from Detroit.
Like Thrasher Mags. I was talking about how Thrasher I found punk through Thrasher. All that stuff was like, you could get like the Thrasher skate rock records, and it was like The Accused, Septic Death, Corrosion of Conformity, like when they were hard. Like, you know what I mean? It was pissed off stuff.
Yeah, man.
So I liked pissed off stuff, and I was kind of like, there were some of us that were a little ahead of the curve for hardcore, because some people were still kind of stuck in the whole, and this may sound negative, and it's not, because I love the old guard of hardcore, but like they weren't catching on to the newer bands like Judge or Gorilla Biscuits or Breakdown and Outburst, stuff like that. Was
the youth shit.
That shit was really starting to come up, like 1990, and I was in love with a lot of that hardcore, like some of that early Long Island, New York City, East Coast stuff that was coming out. Worlds Collide, like a lot of that stuff was coming out, and it was just like, like breakdowns are happening. There was no breakdowns yet. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, like, yeah.
You weren't breaking it down yet.
No.
Youth of today would be like, break down the walls. That's about as close as you get.
Like 95, 94, 93 shit.
Well, yeah, but I would say even 90, 91, like some of those bands are starting to like make it hard. You know what I mean?
Fuck yeah.
And I loved it. Like, I thought a lot of stuff was fantastic.
Yeah. The side to side shit, and like people like creepy crawling and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I love that shit.
I saw Cro-Mags at Blondie's too. I mean, I saw a lot of stuff at Blondie's, a lot of hardcore.
Yeah.
There's a whole new wave of hardcore right around that time. You know what I mean? I remember seeing Cold Life when they were the Mattress Rats. I saw them when they were a punk band.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Probably before I was born.
Oh, probably.
Just before, anyway, because I was born in 87, so.
They were good then, too.
That's
they were good as the
Mattress
Rats.
Yeah. Did you know Ron and that?
Yeah. Yeah, he was a character. He's a character, man.
I love it, man. It's such history with that band.
He gets a really bad rap for certain reasons, but he's actually a really nice, funny dude. You know what I mean? He had a very bad temper problem.
Yeah.
But he's actually pretty cool.
I love it.
Yeah. He just flew off the handle a little too easy.
Well,
that's all.
What happens when you drink pitchers of beer on stage?
Yeah, spill my beer, I spill your blood. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how it was. So
I love it. Yeah. Oh, fuck. Well, let's say you're talking about breakdowns and shit, and what I thought's hilarious. The Suicide Machines going back. The song "Hey," like,
yeah.
It's like people get fucked up to that song. Like the beginning, it's so funny when everyone's at a punk show, ska, then Hey comes on. It's like, oh shit, because the hardcore kids know it's time to fucking get down.
Yeah, man. Well, you know, like Machines would play. Well, I mean, we played a Negative Approach cover before. We played. What else did we do? Oh, we did a Gorilla Biscuits cover after they broke up. You know what I mean? Like I remember playing No Reason Why on one of the first Warped tours because Civ was on it, and they're like, oh, damn, all the dudes from like Civ are like, dude, they're playing No Reason Why, like, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, man, I always like, yeah, you know, you grew up in Detroit, especially the end of the '80s. You know, hardcore, it was a kind of a becoming a big thing. You know what I mean? It kind of died for a while, from what I understand. Like right around the time I came in, it was dead. It's gone. Like, you know, Negative Approach was broken up, and all the bands, all the original bands are kind of gone. And no one was really doing it yet. But, you know, through Thrasher Magazine, I was finding a lot of these bands that were playing hardcore youth of today and stuff like that. I wouldn't have known what any of that straight edge shit was because I was going to see, like, Feisty Cadavers. Like, I was going to see punk. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was going to see Feisty Cadavers, Slaughterhouse, fucking G.G. Allen. Like, I was going to see that kind of stuff. A lot of the local bands, Almighty Lumberjacks of Death, like SBLC, like Master Strats at the time, like punk.
Those are your friends too now.
And Disgust and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't really know much about, you know, real bands outside of like the Detroit ones almost at first. Like, yeah, I'd heard a lot of stuff, but like all original, I mean, people didn't tour a ton back then. So, you know, a good show was like every other month or so, a good band would come. So what are you going to do for the next month and a half? You're going to go see all the Detroit bands.
Big scene too, so lots of different shit to see. And anyone said like LD and SBLC and Cold as Life and like all those fucking bands.
Yeah, dude, Ugly But Proud. You were going to go see the metal bands too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I always said too, is like there's like 50 musicians, but fucking 200 bands.
Sounds about right. It's pretty incestuous here.
You know? That's true. That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, that's so if you want to throw back to that, anyone thinks it's weird that I played for, you know, Cold as Life. It was normal, like, for people just to like bounce around to everyone's bands all the time. Like,
you're on bass, get on bass. We need you.
Yeah. And, you know, until you fucked up or you got into an argument, then you're on to the next band you'd get, you know, asked to play for or kicked out of or whatever, dude, you know?
I love it.
It's just kind of how it was.
Yeah, fucking good old days of shows and, you know, punk community.
Yeah, I'll mention something funny that a lot of the older heads will probably remember. Like, there used to be this place called Capital Communications on Schoolcraft Road off of 96, and we all had jobs there. It was the scene working at this place. It was like me, you know, Dougie Toms. Dude, one of the bosses was Steve Crass from the Feisty Cadavers. You had Ron Beauty. Like, we all worked there.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? We all worked at this crazy job where we would sit there and pretend like we worked for the police and scam money off of people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, man. Like, we all worked at that place. Like, dude, so many people in bands like worked at that job. Like, so it was normal because I'd be hanging out with Keith from SBLC because he'd be on the phone next to me at one desk. And then there'd be Ron over here. So it was like, you're coming to play bass for me. All right, whatever, dude. Come play bass for you. Like, anyone who else worked there, they're going to be, oh, yeah, Capital Communications. This weird little hub of, like, the Detroit punk rock scene working at this one place.
What were you guys actually doing there? You were pretending to be the police, like you said, but, like, what was the objective of your job, and who was paying you?
Yeah, man. The Michigan Association of Police. And it was doing things like fingerprinting for kids in case they get kidnapped and stuff, like ID stuff.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
So, I mean, was it legit? Maybe a little bit, but, like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And your boss is doing cocaine in the fucking bathroom, you know what I mean, on break. So,
yeah.
I don't know how legit that was.
I remember getting my fingerprints taken as a kid. Like a VFW hall, I went there, I had like an ID and my fingerprints and shit.
Yep, that was probably MAP.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably MAP. But yeah, it was all, just imagine all of us fucking scumbags sitting at phones. Oh, you want to donate 500? You sure don't want to do like 700? Like, okay, thank you, ma'am. Like, if anyone is old in this, watches this, they're going to know exactly what I'm talking about because there's so many more people who work there.
That's awesome.
It's called, oh God, what was it called? something communications.
It's the Capital, but
Capital Communications.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Who? I've heard somebody else mention that, not here, but I heard. I don't know who did the podcast. Somebody's somewhere. I've heard that place mentioned, and they said Ron was there.
Yeah, Ron worked
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Like, I couldn't imagine a bunch of hardcore dudes, sitting at a desk. At least you're not like doing it personal and face to face.
I'll tell you,
because they'd just fucking run away. They walked into the office, and you guys are there, like
totally, dude. Yeah, because the other guys like who ran it, they suit and tie, like ties and dressed nice. It was really funny, man. It was fun. You learned how to scam things on the phone too. And I'll tell you, the king of it. Maybe I shouldn't mention this, but I'm gonna, man. The king of it was Doug Toms, man. He could call Adidas and get free shoes. You know what I mean? Like, he could do anything he wanted. He'd be like, "You want to go get some free Taco Bell? Let's go get some free Taco Bell." And he'd call, and he'd just like, dude, he hustled, man. He could just do it. It was wild.
That's so fucking.
He was
funny.
so good at talking. Mind blowing.
Yeah. Eventually did all this shit for Cold as Life and all those other bands too.
Yeah,
man.
he's a good cat, man. He's like my big brother.
Cool, man. Yeah. I've seen him at all the fucking shows like growing up. It's like,
I love Doug.
And all the Cold as Life guys just fucking hanging out. It's like, yeah, that's them.
Yeah, Doug E.T. is the best, man.
Good. So, I don't really got anything else written down, man. How long has it been, Darren? Okay. I covered a lot. Anything else? You got anything else going on besides with those 3 bands?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a hardcore record with a bunch of people. My friend Claire is singing. My friend Mallory from Toledo is playing bass, and Ryan from the Suicide Machines is playing. Just like really fast hardcore.
Sweet.
Been in the middle of writing a 4-song punk rock oi EP with the drummer of Choking Victim and a few other people that I'm friends with around the U.S. and been doing that. That's it, dude. Yeah, I think that's it.
That's cool.
It's hard to recall sometimes.
Yeah, so fucking lot going on. Is this all stemmed from the pandemic, just nothing to do, or was it just already going to happen anyway?
I think the thing with me and Squirt from Choking Victim was going to happen anyways. We kind of messed around, and wrote some songs, and I don't think we were too into him. And then he was like, "Did you ever get into oi?" And he's like a total crust punk.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I love oi, man. And he's like, dude, I want to do like an oi band, but it'll be like oi play. It'll be political. And I was like, yeah, dude, yeah, I can write those songs, shit them out all day, like.
Anarcho Pie.
Here you go, yeah. And so I like wrote a bunch of songs and emailed them to the drummer in Chicago from Still Alive, and they're passing the songs all around, so
shopping it out. Cool, man. That's fucking, especially with when not shows going on, everybody has a lot more time to explore their art.
Yeah,
in a way, and I'm sure you have thousands and thousands of songs written down that you just never put on anything yet.
Yeah, man. Like that's the thing. Like I can't stick to any genre. You know what I mean? That's why people trip out that I'm do one thing or another thing. It's like, dude, dude, if I could play cello, I'd play in an orchestra. Like, you know what I mean? Like I need all like music, man.
Well, the thing is I don't think those people understand that they looked at their own playlist and see the diversity in there, and they're just not playing. So it may not resonate. It's like, why would you do that? Because I like all that stuff. Look at your playlist. See what you like.
Yeah.
And,
there's got to be some different stuff in there. You can't tell me that you only listen to this or that. There's no way, man. Like I love
Biggie
jazz
and fucking something else.
Yeah. Big L, rest in peace. Anyways, I listen to a ton of jazz. I wish I knew how to play like jazz guitar. Maybe I will learn someday. You know what I mean? Like I listen to a ton of really old jazz. I fucking love it. You know what I mean? But like, I love dub reggae. Obviously, the kind of where the traders lean sometimes.
Yeah.
And
one time I went to Jamaica with my parents, like 8th grade. We went to like a concert, like a steel drum concert. Man, this fucking reggae shit, and I was like 13, like I said. I was like smoking with my sisters and shit. I was like fucking baked, just sitting there, just on this. It was like nobody was there. I was like inside the hotel, so it was like fucking mandatory for them to play, I guess. But
sure.
I was just baked out of my mind listening to them steel drums. It's like, holy shit, this is the fucking best. Like no wonder everybody associates like reggae with weed, because it goes together.
Gotta bless up the chalice, man. Give praise to Jah.
It was awesome. That's fucking right.
Oh man.
Well, shit. Went through it all, man.
All right, cool, man. Cool. An honor to be on your podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, man, I like what you're doing. Keep doing it.
I'm going to.
It's very cool.
Only the beginning.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
I expect to watch some more.
Thank you.
I was stoked to see you at Aztec on the other day. So I gotta take a listen to that. He's rad, man. I'd like to do something with him someday. You know,
that'd be fun.
He's a good lyricist.
Man. Yeah, he's one of I think the best. There's not a lot like him. He's
good.
Metaphorical. You know,
he's great, man.
It's like bullshit. It's more. It's just straight up fucking Detroit hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, let's put him on.
Yeah, I think I started listening to that one. He's rapping about hanging out in a bar. That's fucking what we do. You know, like
chilling. It's keeping it real. It's not
exactly.
It's not about gold and cars and money. It's about what he's actually doing.
Exactly, man. It's very cool.
Hanging out.
Very cool.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
All right.
Cool, man.